Okay. All right, let's go. It is quite clear from earlier statements from the Trump administration that this administration does not believe in the weight, the relevance of international law. And this particular proposal clearly would be in violation of a number of universally agreed rules. It would be a violation of the right of self-determination of the Palestinian population. If executed against the will of the Palestinian people, it would be a crime of forced displacement of the Palestinian people away from the territory. And if one accepts that Palestine is a state, as most states in the world do, it would also amount to an unlawful annexation of territory by the United States. So on these and a couple of other grounds, it would be fundamentally in breach of international law. Clearly, in the history of international law, there has been a large number of fundamental breaches of international law, including unlawful occupation of territory, including forced displacement of people, including ethnic cleansing. Nonetheless, for the United States, who is on record since the Second World War as a supporter of the global international legal order, this will be a remarkably fundamental violation of the rules of international law. But we should say it would not be the first, of course. If you look back to the war in Iraq, to parts of the war in Afghanistan, clearly the United States also has a record of prior breaches of international law. Having said that, if this would be implemented, it would be a particularly egregious breach of international law. I think that the ramifications of these statements by Trump go wider than the specific case at hand. Because even if the US would be backtracking from this proposal, the very fact that he spoke so loosely about the possibility of the US committing a crime of international law, pushing aside the rights of the Palestinians, stands for a wider phenomenon that the United States simply does not take seriously the fundamental norms of international law. Of course, we've seen it earlier in a way that the US spoke about Greenland, about Panama, the tariffs against China, now Gaza. And the risk is that even if this would not be implemented, the risk is that this would send a message that great powers, that states do not need to take international law very seriously. And then we also lose our moral entitlement to speak out against the Russian invasion in Ukraine, or against atrocities in Sudan or in Congo. So this is has a very fundamental risk of undermining the credibility and the normative power of international law. Many states in the world already take the position that Palestine is a state. So the idea that of an existing state you would remove the population, I mean, that is totally a non-starter. The fact that Trump seems to find this possible may also be influenced by the fact that he, but also European states, including the Netherlands, have not yet recognized the Palestinian state. So one other takeaway that I have from this incident is that it's important for all states to recognize Palestine as a state, so that Palestine would actually have the full legal protection of international law.